Hi there. Thank you for joining me for this bonus training about how you can take your life out to launch. This is really for heart-centered leaders, people who are ready to create six-figure businesses, liberate themselves from 9 to 5 without having to quit cold turkey, get stuck doing it all by yourself and figuring it out, or waiting months to monetize your business. So this is really for a big dreamer, a visionary, someone who's like, I know that I want to be unleashed. I know that I'm out there wanting to create my freedom and fulfillment. This is for you if you have dedicated yourself to your career and developed a zone of genius, AKA an incredible body of work. You have passion, you have experience in a specific field. You've been climbing that corporate ladder and just trying to see how can you reach success. And now you're ready to do it on your own terms, right? Build something finally for you. And maybe you've already started freelancing, consulting, or coaching, and you're just ready to get what the seeds that you have planted and really grow them, right? Into $10,000, $20,000, $50,000 months. And not only large months like that, but months that feel easy and light. It is totally possible for you. So you are probably, if you're here, you're so ready, right? You want to work when, where, how, and with who you want, right? That ultimate freedom. You are ready to have more fulfillment, even create a legacy for yourself. And you are totally done with the grind, whether it's that grind of 9 to 5 or that grind of being a type A overachiever. You know that for you, it's time to start working smart. And maybe you're just like, I am so ready to just step into my fullest, highest version of who I can become. Maybe you've been stuck in a circumstance like a 9 to 5 that has just been taking everything out of you, right? Your time and your energy, and you're in this spot where you're like, I just don't see how I could get out of where I am. And that's what this training is really all about. So here's a little snapshot. If you don't know me, my name is Leslie, and this is the life that I want for you, right? Where anything is possible, where you get to spend time with the people who are important to you. Here you see me with my family and my two business partners who happen to be my best friends, learning how to surf, doing some public speaking, traveling. I took 14 trips last year. Or that silly picture with me doing this. I was in an ad in Times Square, and one of my favorite takeaways from that is my mom was like, I finally know you're going to be okay. I was like, Mom, if I had known that, I would have rented an ad in Times Square decades ago. But really, I want this for you. Anything is possible. If by chance you randomly stumbled on this video and don't know who I am, my name is Leslie. I am 50. I have two boys, and I have a coaching business that does 7 figures. It is well on its way to 8 figures a year. So I have been helping hundreds and hundreds of people unleash themselves from 9 to 5. I am definitely by no means an overnight success. I'm just someone who took action consistently day by day. I have always been a major introvert. Recently, I've tested as an extrovert, but that is through the development of self by having a business. And I'm really just a mom who one day said, I can't choose between my family and career anymore. And I'm really so impassioned to create a movement of people who are integrating their work lives and growing something that's bigger for them. Your life is so much more than work, right? So here's me in 2013 working in corporate, and I was grinding away, climbing way up to the executive suite. And then one day my son told me that he would rather be homeless living on the streets with me if he could actually spend time with me, because I was never a real present parent to him. I thought providing for him meant financially, and what he really wanted from me was time. So in 2014, I left and resigned from my job, had baby number two, and here's me just kind of working part-time on the side, freelancing. So I was just like getting really scrappy at this point in my life. And that snowballed into me becoming a consultant. And before I knew it, it took me 2 years part-time. My clients are now doing it in like 2 months, 2 weeks. But I replaced my 9 to 5 income, and I only had to work 25 hours a week, which opened up so much space for me. I started a branding agency, and I started hiring other like-minded individuals to freelance and consult. And I started doing like $30,000 months. And in 2024, I decided that I really wanted to teach people like you what I did. And so for me, having a business that's on track to do 8 figures and stepping into abundance, finding ways to make money, contribute myself, have fun, joy, and impact on others. Like all of it has just been an expression of who I am, and developing a personal brand that is becoming a movement, right? That liberation from 9 to 5 and liberation from societal constructs, right? All while, I'm just a mom, a wife, a sister, a daughter, a friend, and a coach. And these are my business partners, Rochelle and Show. So if I can do this, I'm telling you, you can do this too. We're going to dive in right now so you can really see how does this work. So there are many pathways to success. They all work on some level. We've all been taught this traditional model, right? Climb the corporate ladder, bankroll a business idea, right? That's the other way to make it. Maybe invest in real estate, play the stock market, work 2 or 3 jobs, figure out some skill that you could maybe learn. And then that's the way to on the side do it, learning those new skills. So that's like their traditional route. Then there's the other swing of the pendulum, right? To the get rich quick models, multi-level marketing, cryptocurrency, drop shipping, affiliate marketing, even winning the lottery, right? So we've all seen these 2 ways, these 2 pathways to success. And what I want to share with you today, it's called the out to launch model. It's a way where you can be a freelancer, consultant, or coach. What I love about it is the startup is low, very, very low overhead. It's for heart-centered leaders, people who want to share their passion, share their expertise. And it's really building a business based on your zone of genius. We all have a zone of genius. And it's a way that you can monetize this zone of genius, which is your expertise or passion, in as little as 3 to 6 months. We see people making $10,000, $20,000 or more. Some people use it as a stepping stone, and some people use it as a second source of income. So there's a lot of options with this as well. So your life is way more than work, right? You're here to be your purpose, whatever it is that you're here for, and finding your freedom and fulfillment. It's going to happen for you at a very, very special intersection. So what if your work was a way for you to find, I like to call it your 5 Fs: freedom, flexibility, fulfillment, funds, as in money, and fun. We do not want to be working, spending a third of our waking hours in drudgery, right? It might as well be fun. So the key to having everything that you ever wanted is actually by discovering your blind spots, which is a very interesting term. When I heard the idea of blind spots, I was like, this is incredible. So here's a blind spot. So a blind spot's what you don't know that you don't know. What most of us don't realize is that the system around us has been completely shaped. This man in the upper left-hand corner, that's John D. Rockefeller. He is arguably one of the wealthiest Americans that have lived still to date, even though his impact really happened in the early 1900s. He helped create an education system, and he was one of the ones who standardized it. And it was during the Industrial Revolution where you had to show up to work in order to produce something. And he really wanted to create a workforce that was docile and subservient to an economic machine. He literally is quoted, you can look it up on Google. He literally contributed millions of dollars to the public education system, and he is quoted to say, I don't want a nation of thinkers. I want a nation of workers, because this was all developed during the Industrial Revolution. So we've been taught this whole get a job, go to work, get married, have children, follow this, blah, blah. It's all a societal construct that when you start to actually look at it, you kind of can't unsee it. It's about us wisening up to this construct that's there and seeing how we can turn the tables. It's about learning the real secrets to success. Like, the reason why I do what I do is because if we have more people who have their 5 Fs, they have more freedom, they have more finances, they have their flexibility, we can make real social change. But we can't do that if we're 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 hours a week, grinding away, completely exhausted and struggling to make ends meet. This is the way that things actually change. So what is another blind spot that most of us don't know is that we all have energy and value that's created in these different energetic zones. So zone number one is your zone of genius. This is where you are naturally expressing yourself. It's your purpose. It's where you will be paid the most money. The thing about your genius, it is so natural to you. It's like breathing. So to you, you don't think you have it, but to everybody else watching you work your magic, it's like watching voodoo being performed. And so discovering your genius is a big puzzle piece here. There's also your zone of excellence. These are the things that you do well, you enjoy them. You might be working in your zone of excellence. The zone of excellence is a great path to stability. You can escape the 9 to 5 and really start to create value. So you really always want to stay in these top 2 tiers. Wealthy people are always in their zone of genius and excellence. What they never do is hang out in their zone of competence. These are the things you do well, but you don't love them. They energetically start to drain you. When and if at all possible, find other people to do this kind of work for you. And then there's your zone of incompetence. These are the things you're not great at all. Like right now, my computer's running out of memory, and I'm just like, this is not my zone of competence. I can't do this tech stuff. It kills your time, your energy. And this is when you're like trading your zone of incompetence and competence for other people's genius and excellence. Like oftentimes you find people who are exact opposites. These are the keys to success because you're staying in your high energy, high value zones. So what we do is we want to help you create what we call the 5F business formula, right? 5Fs: freedom, flexibility, fulfillment, funds, and fun. So you have your zone of genius and there's your zone of excellence, and there's going to be an audience that needs you. There is an audience for everybody. Now, many of you will create business number one, freelancing, consulting, or coaching, and it's between an audience that needs you and your zone of excellence. That's fine. It's a great stepping stone. This is where you're going to find freedom from the 9 to 5, get some flexibility working when and where you want, and you'll start making more money. Some of you are already prepped to do business number 2. This means you get the privilege of working in your zone of genius, where you are now also adding in fulfillment and way more fun because it is your zone of genius. Now, there's not a right way. Like everybody has their path, right? If you start off in business number 1, you're going to work yourself to business number 2. You might discover, like the thing about your zone of genius is it can shift over time. So we put this all in what we call the freedom from the 9 to 5 framework. So number 1, as we mentioned, you're going to dial in that offer. This is your genius zone idea. Number 2, you're going to get that idea out through creating awareness and connections. The third is you're getting a little bit more tactical, right? You're creating a proposal, and then obviously you're going to get paid and deliver on the work. Now, you're going to, in step 1, create that idea. It's going to be based again off the experience you already have. You don't need to go learn anything new. It's not also about knowing everything. When you're an expert, you often realize the world of what you're, like the industry or the niche that you're in. You don't need to know everything. You just need to know more so that you can help a group of clients. I'd say if you know 20% more than another individual, you can contribute to them. Number 2 is really creating awareness and connections, right? Sharing yourself and your business in a way that's authentic to you. We don't want you doing anything slick, no salesy stuff, right? It's about talking conversation, human to human, and creating what we call a shared vision, right? It's the future of what's possible if they're at point A and they work with you to get to point B. Once you realize where point A is and point B is, all you got to do is think through what's it going to take to get them from A to B? What's it going to take to help them have that transformation? And when you develop pricing off the value that you're creating, not your time, that's how you see all these stories of people who are doubling, tripling, quadrupling their income, because we have been taught to trade our time for money, right? Because we were taught by people like Rockefeller, who basically indoctrinated us to have employee mindset through the American education system. Number 4, you're going to get paid and deliver, right? So your client's going to say yes to the proposal. You're going to get your contract in. They'll be invoiced. The money goes right to your bank account. You don't even need a special bank account to get started. Not in the beginning, you don't. And then you're going to go through the process of really onboarding your client. Now, building a business is iterative and it's integrated. It's not a linear thing, right? You're going to dial in your offer. You're going to have those conversations and create a proposal. It's a cycle that you go through, and you're learning every step of the way. The good news is you don't have to have things all perfect. You don't have to have them all figured out. It's more about creating a hypothesis and then testing it. And it keeps getting refined over and over again. Why is this not clicking? Sorry. All right. There's two things that you're going to need in order to make this work. Number one, obviously, is the know-how, right? We all need to know that technical stuff. So one of the things that you'll need to do is figure out how you get people from point A to point B through your offering or your service. And this is by building your business funnel. So we're going to work with you so that you know how to like figure out that top of funnel, people's like awareness of problem. Like some people don't even realize that they have a problem, right? And then once they realize that they have a problem, they're like, oh, I need to see who can help me figure out that problem, right? That's the info and search. And then right after that, they drop into the next level of the funnel, which is they're starting to consider and evaluate, like, who do I want to work with? And then they start to show intent. And so we're going to walk you through helping you build each stage of this funnel. And obviously at the bottom of the funnel, conversion and consumption is when you actually are transacting sales. And then last but not least, loyal people will refer you word of mouth. And that's when your business really starts to snowball. It's super fun. The second thing is shifting from employee mindset to entrepreneurial mindset, because it's something that we have never been taught in school. So one of the things that you're going to have to do is have an outrageous commitment to getting into your growth zone, because as humans, we're all in our comfort zone. That's just how we are. So if you look at me here in this window, it's like within the boundaries of these frames, I'm in my comfort zone. And the minute I go out, the minute I do something new and different, guess what? Because by virtue of being human, you're going to go into the fear zone. If you have been waiting for the fear to go away and then you're going to take action on your future and dreams, I'm going to share with you and just be real. The fear is never going to go away. That's part of being human. Feeling that fear in some ways is knowing that you're alive. So the key is, and the question is, if the moment you leave your comfort zone, you go into the fear zone, what do you need to do? The trick is to find ways to go through the fear zone into your learning zone. And from your learning zone, you go into your growth zone. And this is how you have that future that you want. If you think about where you want to be in 6 months to a year, it's all about you going through this process and getting into your growth zone. See, as long as you're in your comfort zone, and then when you go out, you're like, I can't do it. I'm fear. Like you just comfort and fear, and then like you're scared. That's where you're all in your head with fear and doubt. That's the land of no action. But once you can push through the fear, get into that learning zone and growth zone, that's where the action is. And we do it by 3 ways. Number one is really dial in a why, or a BHAG, which stands for a big, hairy, audacious goal. When you have a big, hairy, audacious goal, like for example, one of my big, hairy, audacious goals in the beginning was, hello, my son just told me he'd rather be homeless than living on the streets. Like that's a pretty big why for a mom. So when I got scared, I still stayed in action because I was like, I'm going to do this for my kid, right? So having a big why or a BHAG is critical, and will help you develop that if you don't have one already. Number 2 is having a community of people that are like-minded and taking the journey with you, right? You need to have conversations that are going to hold and align with the future that you're creating. And number 2 is having a coach, someone who can guide you every step of the way. This is how you make your dreams come true. Listen, the reason why you're here, you were brought here, like this is not an accident that you're here, because you are a total rock star. Listen, you might sometimes get all in your head and you're like thinking about fear and doubt. That's normal. You're a human. And maybe your passion and energy isn't really there because you're burnt out, you got ground up in toxic work environments, you've been dealing with corporate BS for I don't know how many years, if not decades. Or maybe you're like me and you're just like, I've worked so freaking hard and I still haven't cracked the code to success. And so you're really starting to, it's almost like, the more you're just like trying to grab it, it just kind of seems to move away from you. These are just all common human experiences here. You're here for a definite reason. Here's my vision for you. You get to share your genius with the world. You get to actually serve others and be a contribution, and you have complete freedom. You really do. And you get to discover who you really, really are. This is a photo of, on the left is Show, one of my business partners, and on the right is Caitlin. She's one of my super, like, I love her because she had so much imposter syndrome and lack of confidence, but she stuck with it. In over a year, she built a 6-figure business for herself as a project manager and someone who does operations. But it's there for you. It's just about you taking the steps. If you are like, oh my gosh, I see it, I get it, I'm inviting you to be part of Out to Launch Academy. This is a done with you program. You don't have to do this alone. You do not have to figure it out alone. We figured it all out for you. We figured out a proven system where you can liberate yourself from the 9 to 5. You can double your income and work half as much. You don't have to quit cold turkey. You don't have to do it all by yourself, and you do not have to wait months to replace your income. It's called freedom from the 9 to 5. Now, what is freedom from the 9 to 5? Part 1, we're going to draft your business idea. This is going to be, again, based on your zone of genius. Sometimes we're going to build something in your zone of excellence, and then you're going to use that time and space. And I'm going to share like a great story about this in a few minutes. You might start in your zone of excellence and then build towards your zone of genius. That's what I ended up doing. Number 2 is what's called lead generation, right? That's getting your idea out there. We're going to figure out a system that's based on your personality and circumstance. There's no one size fits all for this. And it is not about selling. We do not want to have that like icky vibe. This is about serving one person, one conversation at a time. Number 3, we're going to show you when you get someone from point A to point B and you understand like the scope of what it's going to make that transformation for them. That's when you can start to look at like, what is this going to take? So that's your proposal for the project or an engagement. An engagement is not going to the altar. The engagement is like working with someone from beginning to end. And we're going to help you dial in the numbers for your proposal based on your value, not the time. And we're going to help you from the interactions, that first conversation you have, all the way through the contract and beyond. And number 4 is you delivering your genius, right? It's like, how do you get a project to happen on time, within scope, right? You don't want it to cost more than what you scoped it out for. And how do you really hold the space for clients, right? Like have conversations that are very powerful and set the stage for the work that you're doing. We also teach you ceremonies. So this is like those best practices so that, clients are often moving very fast. And so sometimes you need to like create these ceremonies so that they stop and they're like, got it. So ceremonies are very actually connected to your payments, which we talk a lot about in OTLA. Then number 5 is systemizing it, right? You want to have technology working in your corner. You want it to be lean and effective. You need to understand all the processes that are going to set you up to scale. And we will work with you on your business budgets and some best practices. And really, it's about working smart versus hard. Now, this fast track to freedom really has 4 main pillars. Number 1 is what we've been talking about, the freedom framework. So this is a business building toolkit. It's coming to you kind of like this video that you're watching, and it's your video business library. It's asynchronous. So it's like, here's the thing. Out to Launch Academy and building your business needs to fit into your life, not the other way around. You've been trying to fit your life into work. That's not this. We want you to learn on your own timeline. We've broken it into bite-sized lessons to make it really efficient and easy for you to learn. After you do your asynchronous or along with you doing it, bucket number 2, you can do live deep dives with us. This is like weekly sessions on Zoom held directly with me and the head coach show. And we also have a variety of other coaches and guest speakers. My executive coach is currently coaching in OTLA because I don't gatekeep. I want to share everything and everyone that has helped me with you. And you're really also going to connect with the community. The OTLA community is a couple hundred people deep. And we also have workshops every month. So you can really like roll up the sleeves and get to work. So we're going to be with you in these deep dives. And additionally, between the asynchronous learning and the deep dives that we do together, you're going to have questions. So in order to keep your momentum, there's a lot of daily support. We will be hands-on doing your Q&A. We do sweeps of Circle. So Circle is just a platform that we communicate on. We also have a community manager. So there's always someone to take care of your needs. And it's really an opportunity for you to connect and collaborate with the entire cohort or community. Like this container is like, I love it. It's so special because we really are, number 4, a hive mind. So this is where you can connect with hundreds of small business owners. Because some people who, they did OTLA even 2 years ago, they're still part of the community. And what I love about working within this community, when you have a community around you, it holds you accountable. You can get referrals. A lot of business is generated within this community. You can work together, and you might even find your new BFFs. Like, I found so many BFFs of mine from OTLA. So who is this for? This is for the person that's a big dreamer. You've had some track record of success, and you are deeply desired to unleash yourself. You know that you are like a Ferrari that's been sitting in a garage that has so much potential, and you need to be let loose on the open freeway. If you would love to contribute your expertise and your zone of genius, right? You're someone who's heart-centered. You want to help and serve others. This is perfect for you. And also, if you want to build something incredible for yourself, and if you have family, you want to have really solid footing underneath you. The one thing that for me that I remember, it was just like the hardest, when you're laid off and you're let go and all of these things, it's like the rug being pulled out from underneath you. This is for the people who's like, no, never, ever for me again. That will never happen to me. So if this is resonating with you, join Out to Launch Academy. If you're in a position that you can pay in full, if you do one payment, it's $8,000 for the 6 months with us. If you would like to break it up into payments, you can do 3 payments of $3,000. And if those don't work for you, let's connect in the DMs and figure out what funding options would work for you. Many of you might be like, I don't know, can I really do this? Can I? And I want to have you hear from Stephanie, who's somebody who, when I met her, she had just gotten laid off. She works in social media and data, but take a listen to Steph's story. Why didn't it work? Oh my gosh. Oh, take 2. I think I need to be more patient.
Like, I don't want to live at the mercy of other companies. Like, who's to say that maybe in a year or two, like, there won't be more layoffs? I want to create the life that I want to live. I just hate that I'm doubting myself. The universe is like, here's your shot now. Go do your own business. It's like, I can't say no. I gotta do it. It's really scary.
Stephanie Ramirez, I'm so glad to have you here with me. What was it like before OTLA versus after OTLA?
Yeah, so I was just really at a low point in my life. I had just gotten laid off from Lyft, and I just didn't really know what to do. I felt lost. It was at a point where I knew I wanted to be my own boss, and I just didn't want to be in the corporate rat race and the cycle of constantly putting my own future in other people's hands. Now I feel like a completely different person. Even just with the first month, I was able to get my first client that was $25,000, and then it grew from there. It just doubled and just been incrementally growing ever since then.
Just huge congratulations. You're absolutely
So if you're wondering if you can do it, I just want to say Stephanie wondered if she could do it on her first call with me too. Here's another common question. How long is the program? And then what after? What happens after? So it is a 6-month program. After 6 months, you can choose to continue in our membership, which is $333 a month. So you'll get access to all the same goodies, stay connected, nothing changes. You just shift it into a membership. What are the other costs, right? What else should you be expecting? So why I love freelancing, consulting, and coaching is there's like very, very little overhead. You'll need your internet, a computer, your phone, which you probably already have. And if you don't need one upgrade, you can write them off because now you have a business. And as far as apps that you use to run your business, I would say in the beginning, it's about $100 to $200 a month overhead. In the beginning, besides if you join OTLA, the biggest thing that you need is your time. It's like your sweat equity going in. And if you do choose to do OTLA, it is a business write-off. You can take a certain amount of business write-offs as tax deductions even before you earn your first dollar. So it's definitely something that you want to talk to your accountant about. What if I don't have a zone of genius? We do hear this sometimes. Okay, here's the truth. Everyone has a zone of genius. It's about you actually discovering it. Your zone of genius is so special that it literally comes so natural to you. It's like breathing. And so we go through a very special process where you can discover your zone of genius. And sometimes you might find that your zone of genius, what you love, might need some more development. That's okay. You can build your business, as I mentioned before, in your zone of excellence and use it as a stepping stone. So this is somebody named Ashley who used fractional work as a stepping stone. And I just caught up with her recently and I wanted to share this with you.
Hey y'all, I'm Ashley. I am based in New York. It's my month anniversary of OTLA, so it was a full year. Started in April of last year, which is wild because it feels like yesterday. Have replaced my full-time income, and thank you to our tax system, I'm actually bringing home more as an LLC, so that's great. So it feels like much more abundant. But I started that in, I guess, July of last year, so not quite a full year there yet. Oh, I'm also working probably about like 20 hours a week. I work in finance, so it's definitely backloaded for like month end, and then it's like 10 hours on the first couple of weeks, which are really great. I feel like I will tell anyone who will listen today, if you've got a transferable skill that you can do fractional and you can look at it as a stepping stone, or you are like passionate about an agency model, absolutely do it. Just the breathing room. I remember saying, even before I replaced my full-time income, I was like, I'm making probably like 70% of what I was, but it feels so luxurious. It feels so abundant. Like I didn't realize it was the time and mental capacity that I was really like looking for. And so like, this is the first time I ever had space to actually be creative and think about, what I want to do, like what lights me up and what would be exciting. Like the bridge between kind of finance and astrology, and like focusing on like how you make money and how it shows up for you. And I have a lot of, so Leslie, your term, like wounded feminine, like I can operate very masculinely, but I don't think that's what I'm supposed to be doing in this lifetime. So like using astrology to kind of lead into that is really like, it took two things that I thought were like opposing sides of the spectrum and brought them together.
You went super woo. Ashley and I just reconnected and she sent me this voice note and she's like, oh my God, I'm making like so much money and I have so much time and I'm just like exploring what's important to me. And it's like, I was like, this could be like possibly like, you cannot get a better voice note than this. Where's all this money and time? This is like all over. I love it.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Your journey is so incredible. Did I hallucinate when you left me notes the other day? Did you say you're making $200,000 a year? Or did I like dream that?
It's slightly over that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Like, so imagine that you have the space, you're making $200,000 a year and you're working 20
hours.
25 hours, except for the first week of the month, you only work 10.
So it's all like, it's like 10 the first 2 weeks and then like 30 the back 2 weeks kind of.
Right. So an average of 20 over the month. So just look at that, right? Like, look what you created for yourself, Ashley. And like, then it gives you these opportunities so that you can start exploring your spiritual side, whatever it is that's really important to you. And it continues to cascade.
So that was super fun. I love talking to Ashley because she's really used fractional work as a way to like a stepping stone, right? How long is it going to take me to make money? This is also a typical question. That is 100% up to you. There are people who take a month to replace their full-time income, people like Stephanie. Ashley was somebody who was a little bit more middle of the road. It took her, I think like 4 or 5 months to replace her full-time income. And then there's stories like Caitlin. Caitlin took a year to replace her full-time income. She also paid out all her debt. So it really depends on the timeline that you are committed to. Kelly is somebody who is on the fast and furious. So she used to work as an exec, or actually a director in the beauty industry. And she started working with us. She did a $10,000 a month retainer. So a retainer means that a company has committed to paying you $10,000 a month, and you don't have a specific scope of work because you're basically coming in as a fractional, which means you're working a fraction of a full-time role. It is not the same as a part-time job though, because fractional roles are kind of meant for like higher paying positions. A part-time job usually implies you're getting paid by the hour. We never want you paid by the hour. We always want you to be paid by the value. And then you can also see, I caught up with Kelly in these text messages, and she got like 2 more contracts. One was $5,000, another one was $4,000. And it's like, for 2 days of work, not bad for her. And then Taylor, she's another person who's more of like, we call them like the consistent climbers. So yeah, she wasn't one of those people who shot off and made 10 grand her first month. She really just chipped away at it. And her niche kind of came to her over time, but she finally got there, right? The point is that you can see she's like, just hang in there, take it one step at a time, and don't be afraid of change, and don't sleep on reaching out to people outside of your network. So, Taylor is just somebody who took a different route. There's no right way. So the investment, we hear this, like, I've never invested money like this. Yeah, it's pretty common because our whole lives, we're typically doing what we're quote supposed to, and we live a very outsourced life, making other people happy. This is Syra. So you can see on the left, August 15th, she's basically like, I have never invested money like this. I am so scared. And then October 26th, what is that, like 2 months and a week later? She's gotten her first $23,000 a month retainer. And then right after that, she got 2 more. So I always say investing in yourself is the best investment because you can trust you, right? Like, so it really makes a lot of sense. And as I mentioned, it is a complete tax write-off. I'm not ready to quit my job, but I know that working here is not like forever for me, right? So you can build it as a side business. Just because you start doesn't mean you have to quit. You can create a second source of income, which is an incredible turn of the tables. So Shalando, she did that. She is a professor and she started working as a coach, helping people in their public speaking. And now she's like, yep, I have a second source of income. I can draw my boundaries. No one messes with me because I now have confidence. When you only have a single source of income, it's really easy to be at your employer's beck and call because it feels insecure to have it taken away from you. I don't have access to invest right now. What are my options? DM our team. We are in your corner to help you figure out something that's going to work for you. So we want to make sure that we create something with you. We never want it to be like, oh, money is why you didn't have your dreams. That's like, no pass on that one. What industries does this work for? So here is a listing of the people that have done all kinds of things. In the top paragraph, you can see like strategy, operations, and finance, all kinds of things that you typically would find in corporate. If there's a role at corporate that's like senior management, even middle management or above, or just something very specialized like AI, you could do it. The second paragraph is like coaching. And when it comes to coaching, literally, you can coach on any topic in the world. I've seen people who coach on how to make candied apples. They didn't work with me, but I know that they exist. Like you could coach really on anything, healing, relationships, wellness, confidence, starting over. Like there is, whatever it is that you're passionate about, there's probably an audience for it as well. Out to Launch Academy, just to recap, it's a 6-month training program and you have options to become a member if you want afterwards. You're going to have a business video library, right? That's your quick access knowledge from experts. Weekly group coaching so that you get all your Q&A. We do spotlights, which is like a hot seat, but I don't want you to feel like you're in the hot seat. I want you to be in the spotlight, right? And then those monthly workshops. You also have daily hands-on support via an app that we use called Circle. And you're gonna have that really connected collaborative community in your corner. As a bonus, you get all the same apps, all the files, all the spreadsheets, all the groups, every SOP, right? A standard operating procedure that I use to build my $30,000 a month branding agency and my 7-figure coaching business. I don't gatekeep. I want to share it all with you. So again, if you're interested in Out to Launch Academy, it's a done for you program. Let's get you this freedom from the 9-to-5 framework. All you have to do is apply if you haven't applied, or DM us any questions that you have. Anything that you want, we can work it out. We are in your corner always. So whatever space you're in, let us know. The way that we can work things through is in a conversation. When you're stuck in your head, you're in a dialogue, in a monologue. Let's get in the DMs and actually have a dialogue and see how we can help you get the future that you've always dreamed of.